Hello. So I wanted to talk about what I learned from my second art market since I recently did a live where I was working on all of the inventory that I was creating for my art market. Um, so the first thing that I wanted to show you was my setup. So over here are my art prints and journals. Um, my son had the amazing idea to put out one print of every single example in the front so people could see what there was without having to look all the way through everything. There goes the jewelry and scrunchies, the wallets, and then the upcycled purses and my little chalkboard sign. Um, so something different that I did at this market is I had help. My son is really, really interested, like in sales and all things commerce. So he came for a couple hours and he helped me set up. He had really, really great ideas I would have never thought of. So that was nice to be able to just like lean into other people's strengths. I also had a friend, which was so unexpected but so appreciated, come towards like the middle of the market, and she actually like um when I got like a little bit shy, she like talked about like some of my products with customers, which was so sweet. And she helped me pack up. And it was just so nice to have additional support. And I never really um, thought about that being like an option for me. Okay. So the next thing that I like learned is that I can't predict what will sell at these markets. And so I really just need to bring everything with me every single time. Um, and so these are all of the things that didn't sell last time at my first market that actually sold this time. So I sold a pair of these upcycled earrings. I sold the Keep It All Together wallet. I sold copies of these two prints. Um, I sold the little tiny, I guess, like, how do I describe this product? I call it the holder of things, but basically you can like put jewelry in it or like crystals if you're into that. And this one actually sold, I think, because of one of my son's super amazing ideas to like actually he put little crystals that he has collected when we go on hikes inside of the little holder of things. And then when people bought it, like I was like, oh yeah, if you'd like to take a crystal with you, you totally can. And people were really excited about that because they could see like the item like already in its purpose and its functionality. Um, so what else? Oh, for reasons like why I think these things may have sold this time instead of last time. I think that there was just like different like clientele that came through too. Like there was a woman that came and she was so excited that the wallet was made from real leather. And she was like sniffing it and she was like, I'm literally buying this because I love the smell of leather. And I told her like where I sourced the leather and that, it's just offcuts from other people's like leftovers when they're making other leather goods, and she was super excited about that as well. So I think like also like learning to be a better like storyteller and like steward of the things that I create and just share the why behind them really helped in their sales. And even with the jewelry, like this jewelry is made out of like like those, what are they called? Like when you're getting food to go, and sometimes they'll put it like in those like little pie tin things that are made from aluminum. That's what that jewelry is made from, and in paper clips. And the person was like so fascinated trying to guess like what it was made of. Um, okay, so the next thing I want to share is bestsellers. So something that I learned too is like when notice that something is a bestseller, I need to bring additional stock of that. I kind of had a feeling that the print of the flowers and the smiling woman would sell well. So I had like a few more of those, and those prints I actually totally sold out of. And The journals also were really, really popular. And that was like also to my surprise too, because I remember on live I was saying like, yeah, they're imperfect and they're textured, but that's what I loved about them. And other people liked it too. They were like rubbing these journals. This particular journal is not one that sold. Ones with the other prints sold, but I didn't take a picture of those in time. So that was another lesson learned. Like take pictures of all of the products throughout the process because you never know if it's going to sell and you won't be able to take pictures again later. Yeah, so those were those items. And let's see. And I noticed that like these both have yellow. They both kind of have like a theme of like joy. And I know I mentioned that before, but like I really need to like lean into that some more because no matter where, like if something really makes somebody smile, they I'm noticing that that is what makes them want to buy it. Even with the woman getting excited of the smell of the wallet, it was because it made her smile. Um, so the next thing that I learned was that like markets, like they're not actually really about sales. Like they're about building relationships with their customers, with fellow vendors, with friends and family that come out and want to support your dreams. So with the customers, one thing that I learned is that when customers like really connect with an artist, they want to like follow your journey. And like how I'm like all anti social media, like I had never heard the perspective like for customers, that is their way of like keeping almost like a Rolodex of like all of the artists that they enjoyed and have interacted with for so that later on like maybe like a birthday's coming up or something like that, they can go to their Instagram and scroll through and be like, what was that artist's name? I really don't remember her name, but I would love to buy something from her for this person's gift. And they'll scroll through their Instagram. And I had never thought about that as like a reason to have Instagram as like this is a reciprocal like relationship. Um so yeah, that kind of gave me a little bit of a mindset shift. I'm still thinking about it because Instagram still very much overwhelms me. So I'm figuring that out. And so it's also time to build relationships with fellow vendors. A lot of vendors like gave me like such valuable like insights, like that if I'm not going to be like on social media, that I show up to the same markets over and over and over again so that and like if I am telling customers like, hey, I'm not at social media, but if you ever want to find me, I'm always at this market every third Saturday or something like that. Um, and then I also met another vendor there that I recognized her work from a store that I go to locally. And I asked her, like, hey, how did you get into that store? Because I've tried like emailing different places and showing them my work and asking, could I be in there? And I get no response. And she let me know that um, those all the stores that she's in, she was actually a regular of before. So by the time that it came to the conversation of like, oh, what do you do for a living? They were already friends and she was could be like, hey, I'm actually an artist. And then they were able to like collaborate on like specialty goods to be in their shops because they were friends. They had a relationship. Um, and so that's what I'm really learning. Like everything is not like business isn't like just like about dollars amount and things like that. It's about really developing friendships, relationships, and that was a surprise to me. And then it's also about building relationships with friends and family. So for the longest time, I was super shy about like telling my friends where I was going to be vending at because I didn't want them to feel like pressure to come and buy. Um, and I realized people are just super excited to see you living your dream, and that actually encourages them. It makes them feel more connected to you. And so that's like another way to build relationships. For me, like I was always like in the mindset of like, oh yeah, I'm doing this event, I'm going to work. Like, why would I invite you to come to work? But like being an artist is something very special. And people want to be on board with that and support that and be a part of your journey. So the next thing that I learned is these types of events are a perfect place to share your process. So one way I did this was so this event that I was at, it was actually an open studio event for artists that actually have studios at this particular location, but they opened it up to other artists if they wanted to pay for a table. So that's what I did. And so a lot of these artists, since they were in their studio, they were creating while they were waiting for people to come by. So I was like, "Ah, I guess I can do that too." So I whipped out my stuff and I started making the little mini journals that I sell. And while I was waiting, and that was really cool because I think it gave people like insight to like, oh my gosh, this woman really makes all of the stuff that's here, and they could actively see me working on the things. They could like ask me questions because of what I realized is a lot of people that come to these markets are fellow artists, and they're just coming to be inspired and to connect with their tribe, you know? So that was like just another cool way to connect. So another thing that I did was I showed originals. So for a lot of my work, I sell um, prints. Sorry, this has like a lot of glare, but I will sell prints because of the nature of the materials that I use, my work isn't exactly like archival. Um, because I can't predict like how coffee is gonna like decay on paper if I decide to paint with coffee or like this random tissue paper that came in a gift. Um, but if I, sell a print, then that, I know that will last for that person. And it also allows me to make my price points more accessible, which is really important to me. But when you're selling prints, you kind of like lose some of the depth that you have on the original because there's like some 3D elements and things like that. So being able to like whip out the original piece, I'm going to grab one of those actually that I would show. Um, so. Oh, yeah, so I would be talking to people and I'd be like and just share that with them and let them see like the original and like see all the different layers that were there. And then I would see their like eyes just light up and then they would like deep dive and look at the print and be like, wow, and actually be able to fully connect with the print. It wasn't just like a digital piece of work anymore that just got printed. They realized like somebody actually made this and it changed the experience. So another thing that I did was I talked a lot about the materials that I use. So at the past market that I did have the sign up that said like these are upcycled items. But at this market, because I did show like the original and I talked about like what went into it more. And really with all of the pieces I talked about the items that they're made of. And like when people came up, I let them know that my work was made from a lot of unconventional, like and all recycled items. So let me know if if they had any questions about how things were made. And that was just like a conversation starter. Um, so I also talked a lot about the intention and inspiration behind a lot of the pieces that I made. Um, and that was something that I didn't do before. So this would happen like a lot when people were like flipping through the prints and they were like, "Oh, that one's interesting." And I would tell them like, "Oh, that one's actually called um for example, like Sisters." And I would tell them like all about like the background on why I made the piece and like my hope that, that they would experience like when they had this piece in their home. And then people felt like more connected to me and not that I was just like only making pretty pictures or like usable products, but my work had intentionality. That is something that I do want to work on is like I think I do a good job now about talking about like my intention to make upcycled work and to make work that is going to be like good for the planet. But I also need to talk about like the actual like images and intentions behind my work are to be like healing, like even if it's like a scrunchie like that I'm selling. I'll show like one of the scrunchies like on the tag. It's called She's Fancy. And like the point is like for it to be like um an affirmation. Like for example, like me always like wearing my natural hair and not wanting to like um have to, like, I guess, like, judge myself to be fancy and, like, considered, like, beautiful and presentable. Like, it's just like an affirmation, like, that how, however my hair is, however I throw it up, like, I'm fancy, I'm looking good. So yeah, so even like with the simplest of things, they have um intentions. So this time I decided to be like more bold than usual, and I would tell people about those things, and it really connected with them. I told them like about like the little buttons that I sell, um and about how like they're actual like Indinkra symbols, and yeah, so I think that just added another layer of connection. So I want to just work on making sure that I do better at like telling my story as an artist. One thing that did help too, in sharing like my process is there was like a little sign that I had up. I'll grab that too. Um, So I had a little sign up and it had a QR code where people could scan and like go to my website, but also it like just said like a little bit about my work and what I do. And so I think that was helpful for like people that were like more shy, because I realized, or just people that were just like super curious, and they were like with their kids and like trying to do all the things at once, they could just read that. Um, and so that was super cool. I think I mentioned that like in the previous video, just like meeting people like where they're at. Like either they'll come to like my booth because like a texture, a color, or like the written word, something inspires them. So I think I do want to keep doing that. It's just making sure that I have lots of different ways that people can interact with me. I think something that will be cool next time is like if I have my iPad set up there and people can maybe sign up for my email list, and but also if I would just show videos of my process, I think that would be pretty cool for people to actually see how the paintings are being made because I think my process is really unique. So let's see. The last thing I have on this page is provide opportunities for co-creation. So my friend that ended up helping with me when I was making like the little journals, I actually do like this thing where I take like a little like embossing pen, I think is what it's called, but basically it puts like indentations into the front of the journal so you can fill a design on the top of it. So after I made one of those, I let her go ahead and um put her own design on it. And it was cool because it's like we like collaborated in a really simple and beautiful way to make this journal together. And so I think moving forward, because there are so many like other artists and creatives that come out to these things, just looking for inspiration, looking for a chance to connect, I think I do want to like offer things that like aren't fully made that are maybe like kits or something like that. So if anybody, just wants to make something there on the spot, that can be a chance like where we collaborate and they can make something that's uniquely theirs, because a lot of my purpose is really to show people that you have all you need to create the life that you want to live. And that's why upcycling is so near and dear to my heart. It gave me the freedom to be able to create, and I think that that would just be a really unique offering, to connect and build those relationships with people that stop by my table. So I think that is it. I want to thank you so much for watching and say bye for now.